All right, guys. Hi. From the theater of dreams right to your screens. Unfortunately, the theater of dreams hasn't been too great for us, has it? We're going to be talking a lot about that tonight, guys. We're going to be talking a lot. We're going to be reflecting a lot on this club that we all love dearly. Welcome to Football Bloody Hell. This is our channel. It is the channel of the official supporters club of Mumbai, the MUSCM, or the Manchester United Supporters Club of Mumbai. यार इतना सब I had adjusted यार now suddenly when I've put it on screen it's like quite bizarre but yeah, just a second, just gonna sorry, I was just about to go live at 10:15 and then at 10:06 till about 10:16 I was just figuring out some of the back end stuff, so that's the reason why I'm late. Anyway, like I said, welcome guys, welcome to Reflections with Abhishek Iyer. I'm your host for this particular segment, and the intent of the segment, guys, is to just reflect on the days gone by, on the weeks gone by, and on the matches that we've had to endure. Imagine 20 years ago, that line would have never held valid for any Man United fan when talking about Manchester United. We never had to endure a Manchester United match, but somehow I feel like that is the best description or the best word to sort of describe what we as fans have had to do over the last few weeks. We've had to endure this club. We've had to endure the performances. We've had to endure the players and their sort of their behaviors on and off the pitch. So, guys, you know what? I want to talk about a lot of things, and I want to rewind back, and I'm going to start this sort of segment today with Crystal Palace. And of course, in this segment, we'll be talking about Crystal Palace, both the Carabao Cup win and the shocking Premier League loss that followed literally 3 days later. We're going to be talking about we talking about Galatasaray, of course, because Galatasaray was an absolute disaster. And we're going to talk about what's next. Animesh says can hear. Do you mean can hear or can't hear? Can you clarify, Annie? If this is audible, people in the chat, if you can hear me, can you just give me a thumbs up, or can you just tell me that you can hear me? I think that'll help. I'll wait for you. Let's assume you can hear me. I'm going to continue talking. Effectively, guys, the point of today is to just reflect and talk about everything that has happened. Now, some of you might want me to rant. Some of you might want me to get super excited like I usually do. But I'm not going to do that tonight because, okay, Annie can. Audible. Mangesh, good to see you, man. How are you? All right. So I want to start with what I believed, like I very naively and genuinely believed was going to be sort of the tide turning, right? When we first beat Palace in that Carabao Cup, Eric Ten Hag's only sort of trophy in this year, in the previous season, we got off to a great start. We played Crystal Palace at home. Obviously, we put out a second string side and we smashed them. Like we absolutely smashed them. To be fair, they were also a second string side, but we absolutely smashed them. And everyone thought, this is going to be the start of something special. We've got a good run of home games coming up. We've got the Champions League coming. We've got Galatasaray, so on and so forth. And, even if you still look at sort of fixtures that are about to come, right? Even despite all these defeats, they're not the worst. Barring the Manchester derby at the end of this month, we've got Sheffield, we've got Brentford, we've got Copenhagen, in the Champions League at home, all home games. But it all started with that win, right, against Crystal Palace, where we all thought life was great. And then suddenly the next thing you know, we're playing them again in 3 days. Obviously with a lot of optimism, with a lot of confidence, with a lot of sort of belief, that hey, this is going to be a sort of reinvigoration of this footballing side. And then we shockingly lost, guys. Like we lost 1-0 to Crystal Palace at Old Trafford. And that was just so bad. Wait, if we lose at Old Trafford, if we lose at Selhurst Park, does it matter? Does it absolutely matter? It doesn't. Because it's Crystal Palace, man. We should be beating them even with our reserves. We should be beating them. Damn, we should be beating them with our under 17s, man, if we even have one. But we didn't. We absolutely lost to Crystal Palace. And I just want to remind all of you, right, for those of us getting super excited about beating Palace in the Carabao Cup, we're playing Newcastle next. And yes, we're going to be playing them at home, but we're playing Newcastle next. Case in point, just last night, Newcastle thumped Paris Saint-Germain 4-1. Like, this is Newcastle under Eddie Howe without the Saudi money kicking in full force. This is a Sheikh Mansoor's money. Well, no, this is the Takshin Shinawatra kind of money that's kicked in. Who remembers Takshin Shinawatra? Remember Takshin Shinawatra? His kind of money, uh, decent players, not world beaters, not world class players. They're all going to Saudi. But Newcastle beat PSG, and we're going to be playing Newcastle next. So that tells you, everything that this Carabao Cup is going to have for us. I know the optimism seems low, and I know that I'm suddenly seeming very skeptical. But it is what it is, man. This club is in shambles, and that's why that's the title of our thumbnail. That's the title of today's show, which is shambles. We are shambolic. We are in absolute shambles, and I genuinely don't know where we go from here. Like, I don't think any United fan can tell you where they think we're going to go from here, because suddenly, when you look at our next game, we're playing Brentford at home. We don't know how that's going to go. Last year, of course, there was a lot more optimism. We thought we were going to smack them, and we got smacked. Maybe, and just maybe this could be our day. Maybe just, we might just sort of pull in a surprise and beat Brentford. But that's the problem, right? As United fans, we are so disillusioned right now. We are so lost. The club is in such shambles that we don't know what's happening. Let me point out multiple issues with this club. Yes, Naveen Chadwani, absolutely, man. PSG was a shocker yesterday. By the way, guys, do join the comments. I'd love to engage. I'd love to sort of see what you guys also have to say, and I'm happy to pin up some of our comments as well. So yes, PSG was an absolute shocker. In fact, Naveen, I want to put up the next comment as well, which is our home record sucks. Absolutely, man. Our home record has been pathetic, which is the first point I want to make. Right, Old Trafford is not a fortress anymore. I remember, I remember. Um, Liverpool fans at their peak used to tell me that, uh, yeah, Liverpool United, and I'm talking 10, 15 years ago when Liverpool won this particular Liverpool, right? They used to tell me things like, yeah, when Liverpool play United at Anfield, irrespective of the team's form, irrespective of our table standing, ठीक है यार, मतलब, it's a 50-50. But when we play you guys at Old Trafford, there's no chance. I remember Arsenal fans used to tell me this. I remember Chelsea fans. Everyone would tell us that, dude, coming to Old Trafford is just sort of, it's you might as well write it off, right? One sec. I just wanna try something. Oh, I can't do it. Okay. Yeah, I just wanna. Oh, sorry, I wanted to try something. Anyway, home has become an empty word. Absolutely, man, Annie. Guys, I think multiple things on this front, right? One, Old Trafford is not a fortress anymore, literally and figuratively. Literally, because you saw what happened with the Galatasaray fans after. You saw what happened with the Galatasaray fans after the Champions League game, right? They took over our stadium. Like they did an absolute takeover. You had fans all over the place. You had fans, obviously, in different sections, just sort of waving their Galatasaray flags, and it was just shambolic, right? It just tells you so much about this club beyond the 11 players on the pitch. The fact that Manchester United could even allow that to happen, it tells you about the management of the club. It tells you about the processes, the SOPs in place. This club is in shambles, guys. And look, this is not a rant at the Glazers. The last thing I want to do now is just point at them and blame them, right? Because at the end of the day, we've been a fan base that have been saying Glazer out for the last 20 years and it hasn't happened. Are we also to blame somewhere? Are we not protesting hard enough? Is a protest the way to do it? Is there another way that we can help them? Is there another way that we can get them out? I don't know what it is, man, but this is just, I don't know, it's just shambolic. Prashant Nair says, home is where the heart is, and right now there is no heart in this team. Man, I'm going to pin that comment, dude. I want all of you to see this. There is no heart in this team. And I couldn't agree more with you, Prashant, because I have seen these players, right? I have seen these very players, those of them who were there last season. I've seen them do magical things with the football. And I'm going to start with the captain. I'm going to start with Bruno Fernandes. Every game going into this season, I have stuck my neck out for him. And if you look at any of the prediction videos that I might have been a part of, either on this show or somewhere else, I have always and always said that Bruno was going to be our main man. Bruno's going to be the guy who's going to score the goal. Bruno's going to be the guy. He's going to be Captain Fantastico. He's going to lead this team, right? Where has he been, man? Where has Bruno been? No, I'm not seeing Bruno Fernandez from the last 3 years. I'm being very honest. I'm not seeing the Bruno Fernandez who is absolutely unstoppable and explosive. The guy who in a game will get three horrible passes right. Like he will screw up three passes. He absolutely will. But at the same time, those seven passes he gets right, three of them are goals. I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing that Bruno Fernandez anymore. I'm seeing a Bruno Fernandez that looks unhappy, that looks a little confused on the pitch. Sorry, I'm just looking at Naveen Chandwani's comment. He says, yes, Amrabat should play his national position, but we don't have a left back in our squad. How many injuries do we have? So Old Trafford is not a fortress. Obviously, everyone's heads are sort of hanging right now. All the players seem a bit disillusioned. The Jadon Sancho situation does not help us. The Marcus Rashford situation does not help us. What is happening with Marcus Rashford, guys? What is the problem with this man? Why is he like this? Why is Marcus Rashford so inconsistent? He's just come off the back of a 30-goal season. I was hoping and praying the man would fire, all caps, like FIRE, fire, you know, go ham, absolutely go ballistic. And now I know a lot of people will say, he's been played out of position for the first few games. He was played as a number nine. He likes to play on the left. Da 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 da, ba da ba da ba. Look, man, Rashford, all I'm going to say is if you want to be the player that you think you can be, if you want to be a Ballon d'Or winner, that should not matter. Cristiano Ronaldo could play anywhere and he won the Ballon d'Or. Messi can play anywhere in the front three and he's won the Ballon d'Or. If you are a truly elite footballer, if you are truly an elite striker, that should not matter. And you've lost your confidence not because I think I don't think you've lost your confidence because you've been played out of position. You've lost your confidence because you are not performing to the levels that you know you're capable of. You are not. Rashford is not going out there and being the big game player that we need him to be. Now, why is that happening? I don't know. But that brings me to my next point, which is tactics, tactics. You know, I don't know what Eric Ten Hag's tactics are. I have said this from day one. I don't know what Ten Hag ball is. I'll be very honest. It looks attractive at times. It looks absolutely abysmal, shocking, pathetic at times. But I still don't know what Ten Hag's philosophy of football is. Is it total 90? Is it classic English? Is it this new style where you play from the back and do a lot of tiki taka? Is it high press, high octane? Is it heavy metal? I don't know what tag to give Eric Ten Hag ball. In fact, tell me in the comments, do you have a tag that you can put on Eric Ten Hag? Like how Jurgen Klopp has heavy metal football, how Pep Guardiola has tiki taka. What is Ten Hag ball? What adjective would you use to describe it? I don't know. Sid Gautam, good to see you, man. I just want to read your comment. I don't see last season's Ten Hag as well. Remember when he punished the squad for losing to Brentford? I don't know why he hasn't done that this season. So many trash. Sid, my only guess on this is this comment that I'm going to pin here from Prashant Nair, which is there are a lot of injuries, like a lot and lot of injuries. And if this was a fully fit squad, and if this was his desire playing 11, starting week in, week out, and still turning out these performances, I think the punishments would be harsh. But then when you've got, Hannibal Majby playing on the right, like he did against Galatasaray in your opening Champions League game, when you've got Amrabat playing left back, and someone did mention that, right? I think it was Naveen. Yeah, yes, Amrabat should play his natural position. So he's called it out, right? When you've got so many injuries, when you've been dealt such a bad hand, right, with injuries, then I can't help but feel bad for the guy. I can't help but feel bad for the guy. I mean, I don't know, guys. I don't know if it's just you, but the weather in Mumbai has been a bit fluey. Like I slept last night with a bit of a chill, with a bit of a shiver. I think for the first time in many, many months, I slept without the air conditioning. I had to change. I had to put on tracks. I didn't have a fever, but I was just feeling a bit fluey. I woke up this morning. I usually wake up at 6:30 sharp with my son, and we have a routine. But I woke up this morning and I just couldn't wake up. I physically got up from bed and I went and I just like laid down on the sofa till about 7:15, and now I'm sipping on hot water, lime, and honey because I can feel a bit of a kitch in my throat. So I don't know what it is. Yeah, man, Prashant, shiver at 18 degrees indeed. When I say shiver, I mean not a chill wala shiver, but sometimes you get goosebumps and you just feel shivery. So that's what it was. Uh, what else, man? What else is going on? So let's see. Prashant Nair says Eric Ten Hag's adamancy and tactics is somewhere haunting us. It worked last year, but now it's all backfiring. Prashant, what are his tactics, man? Yes, okay, press, play high, energetic football for the first 15 minutes. But I'll tell you what, Prashant, I'll tell you what I'm also noticing now with this Man United squad, right? And with the way that we play. I feel like we press with such intensity, right? Uh, that we do put the opposition under pressure, which is why when we start games, right, we always start well. Our first 10 minutes, 15 minutes is superb because we do play with a high intensity. But I think what is happening is, I think, if you've played FIFA, you'll know that when you're taking a penalty, right, in a penalty shootout, what happens when you press the shoot button, when you press circle for too long, what happens? You sky it. The ball goes over the bar. You miss your penalty. I think what's happening is our intensity too much? Are we starting the game with too much intensity, so much intensity that our players are drained very quickly, because of which our reorganization isn't there? So what is happening is we are allowing the spaces to develop for the opposition. We are creating the gaps for the opposition because we are pressing with such intensity that we are not tracking back and we're not reorganizing quick enough because our players are tired. You cannot do heavy metal football for 90 minutes. You cannot. It's physically not possible. It's like saying, yeah, IPL match may do. What if I just score a six off every ball? It's not possible. Maybe the game, maybe humans as a species, one day maybe we will evolve where every ball in cricket is like playing stick cricket, right? In a 10 over match, you can score 600 runs because you can hit a six off every ball. But that's not possible, right? That's not possible week in, week out by 11 players. You cannot go high octane. So I feel therefore multiple things here. One is Eric Ten Hag putting in the right drills. Does he need to temper the sort of intensity with which we play with? I would much rather have that intensity fold out over 90 minutes with spurts. First 10 minutes, boom, go 100%. Then relax, reorganize, assess. Because in those first 10 minutes, if you've not scored a goal, it means that high intensity isn't necessarily working. Reassess, try something different. Which brings the point, right? What do we have in the bag? What do we have? And I'm continuing my point on Eric Ten Hag tactics, right? What do we have? Now, one might say that, look, injuries, also a lot of, like, Mason Mount is just coming back from an injury, right? A lot of people said he was great against Galatasaray. I didn't think so, guys. For me, I'm always going to compare this Mason Mount to the Mason Mount that we all know, which is the Chelsea Champions League winning Mason Mount. Until I see that Mason Mount turning in week out for United, right? He's not good enough for me. He's just not good enough. Just going to come back to some comments. Sid Gotham says, I agree with the injury point. He's playing a third choice defense, which is still without a left back. Don't think he fancies playing Maguire either. That being said, other players should be stepping up. Yeah, absolutely. And dude, no brainer, man. He doesn't fancy Maguire at all. Rahul Dash says, Rahul Dash, welcome, man. Welcome to MUSCM Live. I hope you've hit subscribe. By the way, please hit subscribe. Help us get to 500. If we're already at 500, someone please tell me. I don't think we are, but it would be great if we. Oh, we're at 500, guys. Let's take a second. Take a second. Yep, we're at 500. Thank you. Thank you for bringing us to 500. Right. So truly said. So Rahul Dash says, Rahul, welcome to the channel. He says, truly said, Klopp and Pep are very clear in their mind what type of football they want to introduce. And it's also very well executed by the players on the pitch. So I think execution is a function of training, is a function of just being able to decode your vision to your players. Look, man, there needs to be robust instruments of execution, right? Because everyone can come up with a genius plan on paper, but it's about taking that plan on paper, taking it from the tactics board, and actually implementing it. So, what are those instruments that Ten Hag uses? Maybe that's something that needs to be scrutinized. Are his training drills outdated? Is Ten Hag truly an elite manager for a Premier League club? Can Ten Hag work with egos? Can Ten Hag work with superstars? Or is Ten Hag just the kind of guy who can, for example, and I mean this with utmost respect to both Ten Hag and the club, Brighton. But is Eric Ten Hag a Brighton manager? Is he a Deserby? Which is you take him to a club like Brighton, you give him unfamiliar faces, talented faces, and maybe Eric Ten Hag does a job there. Maybe Eric Ten Hag does what a Deserby is doing right now, right? I don't know. But right now, whatever he's doing at Manchester United, guys, injuries or not, it's not working. It is not working. And I want to know from you guys. I want to know from you in the comments if we had a fully fit playing 11 and our ideal Eric Ten Hag starting 11 in terms of who he has signed this summer, would we have been significantly better than what we are right now? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think the league has evolved too much. I think our competition is only getting stronger and stronger. Not only are our direct competitors getting far stronger, there are there is this emergence of new competitors now in the league. Who would have thought Brighton would be a tough game for United? Just think 2 years back, 3 years back. Who would have thought? Who would have thought, we tomorrow we could play we could play this West Ham, this David Moyes wala West Ham, and it could be a tricky fixture. So, competition is only getting better and better, and we don't seem to be getting better. Sham Vador says the defense suddenly isn't ready for the gameplay. Varane has lost a couple of yards. Lindelof is slow anyway. Man, Sham, I don't agree with your criticism of Varane, dude. I think Varane has been one shining light in this really, 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 really tumultuous and dark tunnel that we seem to be navigating through. I think Varane has been superb. I don't think Varane was ever known for pace. Maybe in his Madrid very early days when he was 19, 20, 22, 23, he was probably known for pace. I don't know. But I don't think Varane was signed because he's a pacey, fast centre back. In fact, how many centre backs are truly, genuinely fast? How many even need to be? Unless your unless your philosophy of your playing club is to always play a high line, right? Then you always have the chance of being beaten, and then you have to have a fast centre back who can quickly chase the striker. But I don't think Varane deserves any criticism, man. He's been one shining light for me. Ah, Sid Gotham. Sid, I like your point of saying that, yeah, that's why we have five subs. But man, what do you do when you have 12 first team players out? No, because then what happens is your subs are coming from the academy, no? Your subs are coming from the reserves, no? Now, your reserve players will only be that good, right? You can't expect them to be world class overnight. Now, Marcus Rashford, honestly, is the only exception to this. He was given a freak chance because we had two injuries in the number nine position, and therefore he got his chance and he grabbed it. But ever since, and Marcus Rashford, by the way, guys, made his debut for Man United 8 years ago. That night that we talk about was 8 years ago. To put it in perspective, and this is beautiful perspective, in 2013 when we won our last league title. 8 years before that was 2005 when we were actually struggling. It was before the dawn of that era of 2006 to 2013 when we won like five Premier League titles and da 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 da. So that's how long 8 years is, guys. That's how long Marcus Rashford has been with us. Prashant Nair, I like your question, man. What are your thoughts on Facundo Pelestri starting? When given a chance, he hasn't claimed the right wing at all. Maybe he isn't ready to start. Prashant, I want to ask you something, man. Palestri for me is a very Bruno Fernandes kind of right winger, right midfielder. I don't think that suits our style. If you look at the other right midfielders the other right midfielders that Ten Hag plays, it's either Jadon Sancho or Anthony. When I say Jadon Sancho, I mean when things were okay. Sancho, Anthony, Rashford on the left. He likes pacey, fast, tricky wingers. Pelestri is a technically gifted footballer. I see him more as an attacking midfielder or someone who can actually orchestrate an instrument play. I don't see him as a pacey right winger, man. It's just not, at least in the games that I've watched. I don't think it's working for him because he doesn't fit that style. I think if you move him to the middle, maybe he could be of more value there. Does he have a goal in him? That's the other question to ask, man. Does he have a goal in him? Because could he be someone that we play when we rest Bruno? That could be the other thing. Now Dash says I've already subscribed. Thank you, buddy. Thanks for doing that. I'm going to pull out a question from Sid Gotham who says, where do you stand with the fan base saying drop Rashford or Garnacho? Dude, I can't agree with that right now because we need our best players, man. Without our best players, we're struggling. And honestly, Garnacho and Rashford are both our best players. Well, on paper at least, they're top five, top seven at least. So we absolutely need them. So at this stage, I don't think the solutions right now are to drop. I think the solutions are how do we lift? How do we sort of change our game? How do we get these guys to now start performing, man? I think that's where the game will really, really, really change. Love this comment from Prashant. He says, Aaron Wan-Bissaka not there is a big miss. Big miss, which no one talks about. Completely agree. Completely agree. And let's talk about Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Resurrection. Probably the greatest Manchester United story in the last 3 or 4 years, or the last 2 years. Maybe the best Eric Ten Hag story, man. Like this guy was even where Sancho is right now with this club, Aaron Wan-Bissaka was 5 steps ahead of him in terms of leaving for the exit, right? He was totally done. Look at him, man. Look at him, man. Times are bad, like it is right now. We have someone like a Prashant Nair saying, where's Aaron Wan-Bissaka? Tells you about the turnaround that he's done. We have a comment from Henry Coleman who says, too much criticism. It takes time, maybe another season, especially with our owners. He assigned only one centre back in the entire defense, which we should have inherited from Ole, and now he is also missing. Are you not Henry talking about Johnny Evans? Yeah, man. I mean, it takes time, yes, but my question back to you is, to what level are you willing to stoop, or how low are you willing to go for the sake of giving him time? Because that's a question that pretty much dictates football, right? How bad are you willing to get till you pull the trigger? And honestly, we seem to be really keen to explore that, and that's not something I want to continue to explore like this. Yeah, guys. So I want to now move to my next one, which is injuries, but I think we've covered injuries. I want to now just touch upon some summer transfers, guys, and I want an honest assessment, and maybe you guys can help me in the chat here and maybe put down some ratings, right? Because I want to genuinely assess the transfers. And I know a lot of you must be wondering, dude, we've had such a bad time. Abhishek has slated Rashford, he's slated Sancho, he's slated Garnacho, he's slated Bruno Fernandes, all the freaking mammoths, right? What about Andre Onana? Let's start with Andre Onana. Personally, I have no problem with that guy. I just feel bad for him because I know that the talent is there, the skill is there, the career is there. Look, guys, David De Gea was known for his shot stopping. Yes, Andre Onana has let in some really stupid lollipops in the last few weeks, but his shot stopping is pretty good. The way he's able, and it's a coincidence or it's luck when it happens once, when it happens twice. I think it's a little more than coincidence or luck when it happens more than that. And what I'm referring to is those upteen times when the opposition from literally 1 or 2 yards have smashed the ball and it's somehow sort of just hit Andre Onana. Now his placement. Now I often tell people, right? Sometimes what happens is a goalkeeper could get lucky when when he dives to the right and the ball actually hits the trailing leg on the left and gets saved. But what I also want to tell you guys is look at the work that the goalkeeper has done to put himself in that position in the first place. One is positioning. Andre Onana's positioning, by and large, is very good, which is why he makes those freak saves. One. Sorry, guys. Second thing is, look at his technique. Yes, he's often sort of going the wrong side, right? And the saves are being done by his trailing leg. But the technique that he has allows him to ensure that that trailing leg is not just hanging loose or hanging weak. It actually allows him to sort of, the ball parries off his leg and goes off. So I'm just saying that Andre Onana's technique is fabulous. I think he could be a big asset for this club. I just think, yeah, he's going through a tough time. That's it. He's just going through a tough time. I remember David De Gea when he joined United. He had a similar experience. I remember, in fact, when David De Gea joined, he was so bad in the beginning after that Arsenal game where he saved the penalty that Ferguson started rotating him with Anders Lindegaard because that's how unsure he was, and that's something apparently fans want Ten Hag to do with Binder. Moving on, guys. Moving on. So yeah. So about Andre Rana, man. Honestly, Prashant, I'm going to tag your comment here because I also personally feel I can't give the guy anything less than a 7, man. Like he's been decent. He's been decent. It's just that his howlers have been such big howlers that a lot of fans probably in their heads are like, dude, I want to give this guy a 3. I want to give this guy a 4. But I don't know, man. I just think I think he'll come good, and I don't want to criticize him too much. We've got a Liverpool fan in the chat. CA Saurabh Bagmare. Good to see you, man. I'm a Liverpool fan from last 12 to 13 years. बहुत मजा आता है भाई यूनाइटेड को ऐसा देखिए इट्स हिलेरियस कैरी नेविल ब्लेम्स ग्लेजर्स फॉर एवरीथिंग भाई मजा तो आता ही होगा यार मतलब हम भी बहुत मजा किए हैं लिवरपूल के बारे में एक्चुअली टू बी ऑनेस्ट ना ब्रो you guys are at a vantage point because when most of us started watching football now yes up we only saw the successes and we saw incredible like huge successes of Manchester United और तब से हम ड्रॉप ही देख रहे हैं ठीक है तेरा ना पता है सीन क्या है लिवरपूल फैंस के यू गाइस आर उल्टा यस चैंपियंस लीग जीता तुम लोग 2005 में बट बियॉन्ड दैट यार ठीक है एफए कप भी थोड़ा बहुत हुआ तुम लोग का बट by and large you guys were struggling and then you saw the heights that Mohamed Salah and Jurgen Klopp have taken you all to so you all can actually enjoy this a little more because for you all it's like haha हम लोग भी वहाँ you can almost empathize with us right कि we were also there and now we are here so it's so good to see you guys but as for us it's just doom it's just sadness it's just it's just and CS up what I also tell people is for a lot of United fans there is this optimism there is this undying belief which honestly kills us yeah it kills us at the start of the season I said United will win the league That's how optimistic I was. I was like, Ten Hag ke char players aa gaye. We've got four solid players. I did say though that एक number 9 आ जाता है, established at number 9 आ जाता तो हो जाता हमारा, but ठीक है यार. Henry Coleman says Onana 7 out of 7.5. You know, guys, I'm so enthused and happy to see that a lot of you are giving Onana 7, 7.5, and not I'm not seeing the threes and the fours. That shows that maybe we're all united in the way that we think. Animesh Thakkar says Neville and Kara are now two people I stopped taking seriously. They don't know which side of the table to sit and make a big mess. Guys, I'm going to be the devil's advocate here, but why is Neville wrong in criticizing the Glazers? Everything that is wrong with this club, everything that's wrong about this club starts and stops over there. No, I'm just saying, like this entire stadium, the way this country. Look at the Bernabeu, guys. Look at the Camp Nou. Look at the Bernabeu. Look at the Allianz Arena. Look at Tottenham Stadium. Look at City Stadium. Look at the Emirates. Those are world-class modern stadiums, man. Look at Old Trafford. More investment, dying. I saw this dirty photo. It genuinely looked like the back of Old Trafford with the railway tracks. Dude, it looked like a third-grade stadium, man. And I'm only talking about the stadium. I'm not even getting into management of the club. I'm not even getting into investments. So anyway, I don't know. I just can't seem to criticize Gary Neville on this, man. I think if there's one guy who should continue to sort of constantly criticize the Glazers, it's Gary Neville. So I'm okay to let that happen. Sid Gautam says Liverpool okay Dele Ali ka profile. Point hai yaar. Sham says Onana single-handedly cost us a game. I wouldn't rate him based on his performances. How would you rate him, man? Give him time and he will come good, but doesn't get any rating now. Okay, yaar, Sham. Fair point. You're basically saying it's too early. Okay, fair enough. Sid says Galatasaray fans in the home section was a joke. That's on Onana. I think he'll come good. Coming to our next signing, should we do it in order? No, we can't because Onana is already. Let's talk about Mason Mount. Guys, I'm going to be very, very quick with Mason Mount. Mason Mount for me has been a 4 out of 10 since coming to Man United. Yes, he got injured, but I didn't see anything great before that. Neither did I see anything great in preseason. He is worryingly looking like the Mason Mount that Chelsea wanted to sell, not that Chelsea probably didn't want to sell. I think he's looking at the Mason Mount that they were happy to let go of. He needs a serious resurrection, guys. He needs to really come good. Because if he doesn't come good, he's not going to last here too long. He's wearing the number 7. It's a very prestigious number for this club. He's in a very big role at this club. He's a sure shot starter. But a lot of this could change for him if things don't go his way. And the thing with Mason Mount is, I just think with him, I think he's the problem. He needs to, he needs to step up. He needs to pull his socks up and genuinely say that I need to sort of my socks up. Prashant Nair says Mason Mount 6 out of 10, and after injury, he's been very solid for us, and I think he'll start more often. Possible. My wife is smiling. Why are you smiling? Okay, you can put your comment if you like. No problem there. What's next, guys? Mangesh Falke, Mangubai. Onana screaming at Harry Maguire in the friendly game did not age well. Yeah, I know. A lot was made of that. I think that was just honestly that was an instinctive reaction, man. But anyway, guys, my Mason Mount, that was my take. Coming to the next one, which is Hoyland. Guys, two shining lights, not one. Varane and Rasmus Hoyland. What a performance, guys, against Galatasaray. What a performance. Like, should have gotten a hat trick. Should have absolutely gotten a hat trick. And the good thing about Hoyland is, ever since he started playing for this club, no, he looks like he's got a spark in him. It reminds me of when Carlos Tevez started playing for us. You could instantly see the spark. Like with Tevez, I knew that, dude, this guy's going to be awesome. Like, you could see the energy, you could see the pace, you could see the excitement, you could see the technical ability, and he scored goals. Think of all the words I just used. Hoyland is reminding me of all of that. And if anything, Hoyland looks bigger, man. Look at who remembers that header, dude, that Rashford assist and that header against Galatasaray. What a number 9 finish, man. Like, insane. So I'm gonna give Hoyland like a minimum of an 8, like a minimum of an 8. Why 8? Because I still feel he needs to be scoring a little more. I'm being harsh. I'm being very, very harsh. But those are the standards I now hold him to. Like, I now hold him to these standards. Which is why I'm saying I still think, or maybe so far he's been a 9, but I still think we're only seeing an 8 out of 10 version of Hoyland. I think he's capable of being even more sort of detrimental and destructive to the opposition. Prashant says 9 out of 10. Sid Gautam says 9 out of 10. Caroline Kuruvina Cornell. So, by guys, Caroline is my wife, my darling, beautiful wife, mother of my son. She says players moving to United and then having is very on brand for the United of the last couple of years. Okay, then having issues. Players moving to United and then having issues is very on brand for the United of the last couple of years. Yeah, man. I mean, in essence, what Caroline is saying is that our summer transfers have not worked over the past few years. That's in essence what she's saying. Whether it's for reasons on the pitch or off the pitch. On the pitch, enough players who have struggled. We just spoke about Mason Mount. Off the pitch, we've had the Jadon Sanchos and the Cristiano Ronaldos, unfortunately, who have either fallen out with the manager or been sort of held back due to disciplinary reasons. Sham Vador says Rasmus is the next Rooney. I don't think so, man. I don't think so. Which brings me to my last signing, to our last signing, Sofian Amrabat. Guys, I was crying for this club to sign Amrabat, and we finally did. Similar story to Andre Onana for me. One, Amrabat a lot, guys. My eye is suddenly hurting. Onana, honestly, guys, off the lot. Sorry, Onana, no. Amrabat off the lot has had the least amount of playing time, so I'm not going to judge him too quickly. So what I'm going to say is, I love his pace. I love his ability. I love his enthusiasm. I like that he's able to cover so much of the pitch so quickly. But yeah, he's made a couple of errors that too in that Galatasaray game, so I can't say much. But just going by what I've seen, barring those errors, I think Amrabat has been a solid 8 out of 10 again. Like he looks exciting. He looks like someone who's going to put in a shift. He almost reminds me of a slightly more defensive Park Ji-sung. Three lung Park, four nostril Amrabat, maybe, or something like that. So yeah, so that covers that, guys. What I'm going to do now is I don't want to go on for too long because this can go on and on and on. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to tell you what's coming next. So our next couple of fixtures, obviously, we've got Brentford at home, we've got Sheffield away, both in the Premier League. We've got Copenhagen, which I now think is an absolute must-win. And this game is at home. It's in the Champions League. Fuck, it's going to be like a Champions League final, guys. We have to win this game. And then after Copenhagen, we've got the Manchester Derby, which is again at home. So if you actually look at it, our next four games are all at home. Well, sorry, barring Sheffield, those other three games are all at home. So we need to maximize it. And I know we did start this today by saying Old Trafford is not a fortress anymore. But I think just to flip it, if we were to make Old Trafford a fortress again, this this run of four matches, culminating with the Manchester Derby, right, could restore that tag and it could restore that play of Old Trafford being a fortress. Because if we win all these games and if we top it up with a win against City at Old Trafford, guys, the moat is back, the gates are coming down, the armory is being loaded, and we're going to be a fortress. So yeah, man, I'm not going to talk about too much else. I've overshot my time. I genuinely want to keep this to about 30 minutes. It makes it easier to watch. But thanks for joining me. Thanks for coming on to Football Very Hell for all of you. For those of you who haven't already, hit the subscribe button. Our next target is to get to the four-digit number, which is 1,000 subscribers. My name is Abhishek Iyer, guys. You can follow me. My name is Iyer the Terrible on Instagram and Twitter. And keep watching Reflections with Abhishek Iyer. I'm going to be meeting you very regularly to talk Manchester United and reflect on how I feel the season is going and generally reflect on my journey as a United fan. So, thank you for joining. We'll see you next time. Goodbye. I've hit end stream. Hoping it's ended.